This is an interesting one. Can you discuss emotional arousal while vibing, keeping emotions spiked intermittently while talking about logistical vibing topics can come off as uncalibrated? I suppose it can. I mean, I guess it depends how clunky you are with it. Don't think that you need to be super arousing. Don't think you need to be calling a girl a dog all the time or insulting her all the time, that sort of thing. It's okay to have more chilled out interactions. And you don't have to, the emotional spikes don't have to be big and they don't have to be jarring, okay? Also, you can do a lot, and this is interesting because I've been breaking down my hot seat footage recently, and I was breaking down footage of some dates that I went on. And it was funny because they're incredibly boring to watch. And the reason that they're boring to watch is that there aren't a lot of emotional spikes. I was like trying to pick out like shit tests and different things like that I can show in like compilations. And there aren't even that many of those because what I'm actually doing for a lot of it is it's just subtle frame control. It's just this slow grinding act of frame control. And it's a lot of like keeping the topic interesting and sexual, right? Keeping it away from where you're from, what do you do, how many how many siblings you have, that kind of shit. But I do ask a lot of get to know you questions, but I ask like creative ones. Like I ask stuff like, if you had a choice, someone will give you like infinite money and you can do anything you want with it. No matter what, you can't spend it. You can make whatever you want of your life. But if you take the money, you're going to die in 10 years. Or you can just live your life as it is. Would you take the money or not? Right? Questions like that. Questions that are interesting. Questions that beg an answer of some kind. Or I'll ask girls, like instead of asking what do you do, like, you know what, I don't even care what you do, which by the way is an emotional spike, but it's also honest, right? I don't care what you do. I can say I don't care what you do, but I care if you do it well. That's one thing I do sometimes. But what I was going to go with this is I don't care what you do, but here's the question. If you didn't have to worry about money, you didn't have to work, what would you do for your life? But you have like 10 seconds to decide and you have to stick with it. Go, right? That sort of thing. It's just more interesting to them. It puts them in that topic. The other thing you can do is, I may or may not have talked about this on a previous webinar, I probably have, but there's this idea of communication that you can talk about I, you, we, which is talk about yourself, ask her questions, tell her about herself, or talk about the two of you together. And the most compelling is going to be talking about the two of you together. And by talking on that we subject matter and talking about things that involve the two of you in a relationshipy way or in a, not necessarily if you're looking for one night stand, not a relationshipy way, but like an aroused sort of sexual man to woman way. By bringing those topics in, that maintains the arousal to a great extent without you needing the emotional spikes. Also, the best way to maintain arousal when you're in that like get to know you comfort phase is to add physicality. So start pinging for the physical. Reach out and touch her hand, get close to her, cuddle up to her, put your hand through her hair, that sort of stuff. And if she's allowing that, you can have the most mundane conversation ever while you're like, pulling her hair or running your arms all along her body. And like, you could have like the most mundane conversation ever while like nibbling on her neck and she's going to be extremely aroused. So that's another way to keep the emotions up without having the clunky spikes. And the spikes shouldn't be things you're overtly be like, oh, it has been 2.5 minutes, I must throw in an emotional spike right now. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be formulaic. It should be when it comes up naturally in the conversation. And it can be much lighter. It doesn't have to be big jarring shit like, fuck you, you're dead to me, all throughout the conversation. It can be like, wow, I can't believe you said that. I had so much respect for what you're doing, but now, now I'm gonna have to rethink things, right? Stuff like that. That's much softer, right? Or be like, wow, can you do that face again? That was cute. That's enough of an emotional spike later on. It doesn't have to be like crazy, devalidating, like make them cry type of shit all the time.